你知道英文名字其实还有别的用途吗？你知道在句子里面它还可以拿来当作动词或形容词吗？今天分享给大家一些常见的用法。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. Today, we want to dive into names, but not what you should name your baby or how to choose a good English name, but funny enough, which English names commonly end up in phrases or as adjectives or as a way to describe someone.
那今天的单元的灵感其实就是来自平常在听到一些很有趣的动词或者是形容词，然后正好都是一些英文的名字，我就觉得说I wonder if there are like a list of names that are usually used in these kind of situations. And the first thing I thought was really interesting is the name Peter.
So Peter shows up in a few different ways. One would just be if someone peters out. Means they lose energy, become weaker, or they are tired. So it'd be like, oh, our summer romance really petered out once we went back to school.
也就是那种慢慢的 like gradually getting smaller and weaker and less exciting or something, peters out. I have no idea why they would want to use this word as a verb. I think it kind of gives the name Peter kind of a bad reputation, maybe.
I think a lot of it has to do with just Peter is such a common name. There's another phrase that we actually just say like a Tom, Dick, or Harry.
Yeah.
Like just a common name, but we might actually say Tom, Dick, or Harry is another one on our list, but it just means that like anyone, because these are such common names. But you also have the terms like, just like, Peter, Paul, or Mary, because these are biblical names as well. So it just kind of means anyone because they're so common or they have such like a strong context in our mind of like an everyday person. So a Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Peter, Paul, or Mary. Peter just gets really assigned to like a kind of just an anyone kind of person.
Right. So sentences such as, let's host a party, but make sure people RSVP. We don't want any old Tom, Dick, and Harry turning up at the party.
Right. We don't want common people. We want, someone important if I have my VIP. So in this case, we're not literally saying like, your name's Tom, get out, right? It's just a way to describe a group of people with very common names so that they're quote unquote common people.
And then you mentioned the name Mary, right? Again, I feel like these are kind of the names that you see in English textbooks quite a lot.
It's short, right? Yeah. Think about like all the references. So like Mary had a little lamb. Yeah. Again, Mary in the Bible, there's several people called Mary. It's just like a extremely common woman's name, I would say in older times than now. I don't think we actually see as many Marys. Yeah. Currently, but it is for just centuries a very common name. So it shows up everywhere and it also kind of becomes a way to just describe any woman.
And there is a phrase called contrary Mary, right? To describe someone who disagreed a lot with other people.
Right. We also like to do this thing where we'll use the same letter as an adjective to describe someone. So contrary Mary, it's more of a rhyming scheme. There's another one called Moaning Minnie. But if anyone is a big Harry Potter fan, there's actually a ghost who lives in the bathroom called Moaning Myrtle. But just using either the same beginning letter or in like Contrary Mary, using some kind of rhyming scheme. It's just a way to use a name so that it's very memorable, but then to describe a whole population of people. Like Contrary Mary doesn't mean they have to be named Mary. It just means it's someone who's like constantly pushing back or disagreeing with other people. It'd be like, stop being such a Contrary Mary.
Speaking of which, another names and using this the rhyming, it's plain Jane. I don't hear this phrase that much anymore, but I think when I was younger, if you like describe someone who looks very ordinary, you kind of use this phrase.
A very plain Jane. So it's not ugly.
Yeah.
It just means they don't stand out, right? Just the way they dress, the way they look. You would never look twice on the street. They're just like, oh, okay, so kind of common. So again, rhyming. Oh, you're such a plain Jane.
Now, there is another name, a boy name that we haven't talked about, which is Jack. Jack of all trades.
Yeah, Jack of all trades, master of none. Another one is like Jack the Lad. Jack is just a name. It's so common. Think about children's rhyme. Jack and Jill ran up the hill. Little Jack Horner sat in a corner. Like there's so many nursery rhymes because it's really short. It's easy to remember. So that term just gets thrown in everything. So you talked about Jack of all trades, master of none, which means someone is really, really good at doing a lot of things, but they're not necessarily the best, right? So maybe they can fix anything in your house, but they're not quote unquote a professional. They just have a lot of skills.
They like dabbles, right? In many, many skills. And the last one, which is actually quite popular lately, I would say it's more of a modern usage of a word, which is Karen. Don't be a Karen. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a bad rap for the name Karen with a K, which I feel really bad for a lot of Karens out there.
Yeah, not every Karen is a bad person, but it's like such a typical white woman name that it just got a bad rep. So it's usually typically to describe someone who's overprivileged. They think they're the main character of the world and everyone should listen to them, and that they also have a tendency to step into where they don't belong. So they may think I'm doing the right thing. Oh, I'm, protecting minorities. I'm speaking for the other person. But a lot of times it's just like you have no business being in this situation. You're just, you want people to listen to you speak. So just be like, don't be a Karen. I would say it's almost the equivalent of calling someone a motorcycle in Chinese, because it's just like, oh, you're being so annoying, or you're just trying to frustrate people. But in this case, it's a female name that gets a very bad reputation for it. Well, we'll leave the full list of names and a short explanation of what each of these names as an adjective mean or a phrase. You can go through them and maybe test some of them out. But remember, if you have one of these names, it's really not meant to be directed at you. It's just for rhyming purposes or historical purposes. You always end up with that name being tied to this thing. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.